very much, Alice, and thank you for that introduction, and thank you all for being here, and thank you for the work that Labour councillors do day in and day out in communities all over the country. And I also want to thank the leadership of the LGA for the work they do in promoting local government as a whole, and I'll come on to more of that in my speech. And I also want to say a particular big thank you to our shadow team who are here today, Andrew Gwynn, Jim McMahon and Stephen Morgan, who do incredible work in speaking up for local government in Parliament. My only sadness is that Andrew is not yet the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government. But that time is not far away. We meet here in Nottingham at a time of growing strength for our party. After the surge in Labour support at last year's general election, and when this year people are talking about Labour winning councils in the May election that our party has not run for a very long time. This is a people-powered transformation, driven by the huge increase in our membership, with activists flooding into our party, out onto the streets, knocking on doors and running street stalls, as they will again this year. And it's a people-powered because our party now relies on people to fund it. We have no super-rich donors, no oligarchs, no big business backers, just the thousands and thousands of small donations from our members and supporters and from trade unionists banding together to support a party that represents them. In years to come, many of those new members will be Labour councillors, Labour council leaders, following in the footsteps of many of us in this hall. We should welcome new people, fresh ideas and young energy into our party. It is mass participation that we all must embrace. Because what our communities are facing now is no less than the dismantling of the civilised society that we all love. Nick was outlining the effects of Tory austerity on councils all over the country. That civilisation will only be defended if we campaign together, members, councillors and members of Parliament. So much that is great about our country and our community was delivered by Labour governments, Labour mayors and Labour councils, innovative Labour councils down the decades, doing all they could to help their communities. So I want to thank you all for all that you've done, are doing and will be doing in the future, working hand in hand with a transformational Labour government. And I speak as a former councillor myself. In fact, I was surprised to find that I'm the first Labour leader since Clement Attlee to have been a councillor. I'm not sure that's a matter of praise or what, but it's true. But today, this Conservative government has sent our public services spiralling into crisis. After nearly 8 years of Conservative government, councils have lost 50% of their funding from central government. And yesterday we found that Tory-run Northamptonshire Council is effectively bankrupt. What more evidence do we need? Austerity is unleashing chaos across our country, squeezing our local authorities and putting jobs and the vital services they deliver at risk. When local councils face cuts, people pay the price. On Wednesday, the local government finance settlement will be announced. We can expect more of the same. The same old Conservatives taking away funding and powers from local communities. And this year, their cruelty has been compounded by incompetence, or worse, getting their sums wrong in December and taking promised funding away from some of the very poorest areas in England. I want to pay a huge tribute to our Communities and Local Government Secretary, Andrew Gwynn, and his team. Jim McMahon is obviously well known to all of you for the work he does as well. For holding Sajid Javid to account and standing up for local councils. Our schools are facing significant cuts, another 5% slashed by 2020. Teachers are leaving the profession in droves. Absolutely unprecedented numbers. 50,000 last year alone. Class sizes are soaring and there are now 24,000 unqualified teachers working in our schools. What does that say about Tory priorities on education? We would not tolerate that because we would fund local government and education properly. Colleges and adult education budgets have also been slashed, ripping away opportunities for young people and from workers wanting to retrain. In recent years, over 600 youth centres have closed and over 3,600 youth worker jobs have gone. And here in Nottingham, cuts risk your ability to meet your ambitions and the vital goal of becoming the world's first slavery-free city. The work Nottingham University does on tackling modern slavery is very important and shows what can be achieved when everyone comes together. The university, the council, churches, businesses and charities. Because, as the Human Trafficking and Modern Slavery report just published shows, we need action across the board to end this evil for good. I raise this because local government, like all the rest of us, has a key part to play in this. Because local government is in many circumstances the first responder, seeing the early warning signs of trafficking, exploitation and slavery. And so I thank councils for the work they do in supporting people who are living in enormous danger and in a very vulnerable situation. And a Labour government would support you in doing that work, not undermine you in the way that this Conservative government does. Our local communities have lost more than 21,000 police officers, nearly 7,000 police community support officers also. Crime, not surprisingly, is going up. Violent crime is up 20% in the last year alone. Across the country, chief constables are telling this government they cannot keep their communities safe due to the cuts in their budgets. In the last year, gun crime has increased by 20%. The Chief Constable of Merseyside said recently, "Have I got sufficient resources to fight gun crime?" No, I haven't. The Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Cressida Dick, said it was inevitable that without further assistance, our police numbers will drop. And the Chief Constable of Avon and Somerset stated, "We cannot sustain further funding cuts without extremely serious consequences." The same level of cuts have hit our fire and rescue services, 11,000 fewer firefighters and dozens of fire stations closed. When Labour says austerity isn't working, it isn't just a slogan. It's the reality that drives public service workers to despair, and our communities suffer the consequences. Nowhere is this more true than when it comes to our National Health Service. The NHS is in the deepest ever crisis, with multiple causes: cuts to social care, loss of GPs, cuts to council public health budgets, and the creeping privatisation that is leaching resources into the pockets of the few. And it's exacerbated by austerity, rising poverty, homelessness, more people at food banks, and the number of people being diagnosed at hospital with malnutrition. Malnutrition in modern Britain has trebled in recent years. Poor quality housing, substandard conditions of poor insulation, damp and mould, which is estimated to cost our NHS £1.4 billion a year. And we send a solidarity message to all those marching in London today that will be addressed by John Ashworth in support of our National Health Service. I'd also like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to Karen Buck for her relentless campaign to make all homes fit for human habitation. And to those Labour councils who have brought in landlord licensing, including Liverpool, Newham, Waltham Forest, Barking, Dagenham and Croydon. These schemes are a testament to the experience of Labour councils who know we can't just let the market decide, because power is not equally shared. Austerity and privatisation are dismantling our civilised society and causing misery. We must urgently move on as a country from Tory austerity and the failed privatisation obsession that has allowed services for the many to become cash cows for the few. In the last months, the arguments for privatisation, always threadbare and flawed, have now been brutally exposed by events. Chris Grayling, the Transport Secretary's bailout of the East Coast Mainline franchise, £2 billion, the implosion of the outsourcing firm Carillion, the National Audit Office report into the exorbitant PFI schemes. The whole edifice of private good, public bad dogma has crumbled before our very eyes. We've seen what privatisation means. Services get worse or are lost, jobs get cut, workers' pension funds are left to wither, while boardroom executives get huge bonuses on top of their already enormous salaries. And private shareholders dine off public services. This is why Labour councils are taking measures to bring services back in-house and reject costly PFI-style models, and to show the efficiency and resourcefulness of local government. So also, I want to pay tribute to Unison, GMB and Unite members who work so hard to deliver local government services day in and day out. But what Labour councils up and down the country are doing is more than that. With amazing creativity in the toughest of times, we're seeing the first shoots of the renaissance of local government for the many, not the few. The rebirth of municipal socialism. Just look here, in Nottingham. Robin Hood Energy, an inspiring Liverpool Lecky, and in my own borough, Angelic Energy in my borough of Islington. What a wonderful name for an electricity company. In Newcastle, where Tyne and Wear Metro has been taken back in-house after forced contracting out, and the service is running better and meeting people's needs. There's lessons too for councils like Cardiff and here in Nottingham, who have hung on to municipal bus companies and regulated their bus services. In Redbridge, waste services will come back in-house next year, and as they have in many other council areas. And it's about time we acknowledged a truth we all know. When it comes to running public services, it's the public sector that works best, that delivers for the many, not the few, accountable to the public and acting in the public interest. Local government can be incredibly innovative, which is why I urge everyone to read Labour's 100 Innovations in Local Government, which Nick gave me a copy of. Labour in power can be creative and innovative to meet our people's needs and create public value. In many London boroughs and in many of our major cities and towns, housing is an absolutely key issue. And the Tories' record of abject failure shows why. Home ownership has fallen, homelessness has doubled, more families are living in temporary accommodation, over 120,000 children spent the recent Christmas without a home to call their own. Private rents have risen faster than wages, house building is lower, and the building of new social rented homes is now at the lowest level for a quarter of a century. So working with our Shadow Minister, John Healey, we will tackle the housing crisis. Build the housing our communities need, including more council housing. Clamp down on bad landlords renting substandard accommodation. Give all renters greater security of tenancy and stable rents, and tackle the homelessness epidemic blighting so many lives. I have spent time talking to many rough sleepers and homeless people. We all know the sense of anger they face, that they've got nowhere safe to go and they cannot get on with their lives. It's up to us, the Labour Party, to win a general election, to deliver good quality housing for all in this country. And I am very determined to make sure we do that. And I know many of you are engaged with John Healey in the social housing review that we're undertaking. But let me just touch on one contentious issue, that of the HDV generation proposal in Haringey for a massive regeneration programme with the private company Lendlease. Faced with Tory cuts and a huge housing need, the council leadership felt that this public-private proposal was the best deal it could get for residents. I want to take this opportunity to thank all councillors in all councils and all boroughs across the country for their service and strength when faced with appalling choices forced upon them by Tory cuts and a Tory government. But the HGV is highly controversial, with local people worried about their own homes and whether they would get like-for-like replacements. 40% of Labour councillors opposed it, as did the majority of the local party membership, both Labour MPs and local unions. It's been a unique situation, which is why the National Executive unanimously asked the council leadership to put their plans on hold and take part in the mediation process to bring everyone together. Because when we bring people together and listen to everyone's voices, we make better decisions. We've been talking to Nick about this, and I look forward to regular meetings with local government leaders, our affiliated unions, and our shadow teams. Democracy creates better outcomes for all communities. That's why I was so pleased yesterday to be with Sadiq Khan in Barnet, Labour's Mayor of London, as he announced in Tory-controlled territory, soon to be Labour-controlled, I hope. We're going to win Barnet, yeah? Yeah. Come on, yes? Yeah. Thank you. Announced his plans to give residents real control through a ballot before the redevelopment goes ahead. Regeneration must put local people first, not property speculators. That's why Labour's committed to giving residents the right to a ballot across the country, so that when we're in government, we can deliver regeneration for the many, not the few. In the election campaign, the Tories ducked debates because they have contempt for democracy. They took people for granted, and come polling day, they got the shock of their lives. This May, let's compound their misery and ensure more people wake up with a Labour council protecting them as much as they can against this destructive Tory government. Even in the toughest of circumstances, many of you have achieved so much to protect your communities and to innovate. A Labour government will enable you to do so much more, because we will ensure you have the resources your communities need and the powers that are necessary to deliver them. We set out in our manifesto how a Labour government would have funded investment in the National Health Service, to social care, to the police and the fire service, and to schools and colleges. We also know that the system of local government finance, slashed by half since 2010, is not sustainable. So we would have put an extra £2 billion into local government this year. The Tories seem to want local government to only get decent levels of funding in the richer areas that can afford it. Nick was right when he pointed out it's the poorest Labour areas that have suffered the biggest cuts across the whole country. And we would have initiated a review of local government funding to make it sustainable for the long term. But it's not just about money, it's about the powers you need. The powers to borrow, to build council housing our communities so desperately need. That's why we will set up a national investment bank with regional development banks listening to and working with local councils about the investment needs of their communities. We'll place local government at the very heart of our economic investment strategy, because we will only get real growth translated into good, secure jobs in every part of the country if we work at the local level. And we will only tackle the housing crisis if councils can borrow to build, so we will remove the arbitrary cap and allow councils once again to borrow to build, as they traditionally have done that have dealt with the housing crises of the past. That is the contrast. That is the contrast between this Conservative government that's taken away resources and only devolved cuts to local government. The next Labour government will give you the power and resources to help us build a country for the many, not the few. Next week, Andrew Gwynn, our Shadow Secretary, and our Shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell, will be speaking at a conference on community wealth building in Preston. Thank you to all of the team for the work they do in Parliament and all of the work you do. Preston is a Labour council that's achieved so much, and they'll be sharing their experiences alongside community activists from around Britain and the United States. As Labour members and politicians, we know there's always much more to do. Much more we can learn, and that we're much stronger when we listen, when we're inclusive, and when we work together. And what makes a difference is applying our principles in power. And I know you share my determination that after May this year, more people will have a Labour Council putting Labour principles and priorities into practice. And after that, a Labour government in Westminster to deliver right across our country for the many, not the few. Thank you.